Hello creatives, I'm back again and I'm going to go over some basic digital marketing terminology. Just going to go over a few of the most common ways, the common metrics that are used when building out and looking at the ROI of a digital advertising campaign. And also I'm going to talk just a little bit about when you would use each metric over another. And this is by no means all-encompassing or exhaustive. These are just the three most commonly used metrics for digital ad campaigns. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is cost per click, which is you figure that out by taking the total amount that you've spent on the advertising campaign and you divide it by the number of the total clicks on the ad. And you can break this down even further to figure out which specific creative, as it's called, which specific image or video had a higher cost per click versus the overall or the average cost per click. And this metric is usually used for lead generation and sales. And really, it's an indication of whether you have good or bad targeting or good or bad ad design, because it measures how many times someone clicked on an image that was appealing, or maybe the message on the image or the video really spoke to their pain point or what they're wanting or in a product or service. So it really is an indicator of whether or not you're targeting the right people or whether or not your ad creative is speaking to the pain points of your target audience. The second one that I'm going to talk about is cost per thousand, which is the abbreviation is CPM, M being meal. I don't know why it's that exactly. I don't know off the top of my head, but that is calculated by taking the total amount spent on the ad, dividing it by the total number of impressions, and multiplying that by 1,000. This is a very common metric used for brand awareness campaigns. A brand awareness campaign is when you are trying to, it's kind of self-explanatory, but the goal isn't necessarily for sales. It's simply to get people aware that you exist. You are putting your brand out there for the first time, or you're breaking into a new market, where you're trying to nurture people from, like, if you look at the marketing funnel, you want to bring them into awareness that you exist, and then move them eventually down to considering your brand for the product or service that you offer. Now, I need to make a distinction here between reach and impressions. Reach is how many accounts or how many people that your ad has been seen by, whereas the impressions is just the number of times that the ad has been seen. So the same person could see the ad more than one time, and that term's called the frequency. But I just need to make that distinction that reach is not the same thing as impressions. So I could do a whole other thing about which is better, reach or impressions. But if that's something that you want me to do or want me to break down all kinds of stuff, if there's any other terminology that you want me to explore and explain, please leave a comment down below and I'll be more than happy to explain that. But for this video, I'm just breaking down the three most common metrics that people use when they're being introduced to digital marketing terminology. The third and final one that I'm going to talk about here is called the click-through rate. And you get that by taking the total number of clicks and dividing it by the total number of impressions. The click-through rate is a metric that's used for most campaigns. I don't know of any campaign that doesn't measure click-through rate, besides maybe a brand awareness campaign. But even then, like, you would at least want to have your ad design or your targeting be good enough that people are clicking on the ad. But and with that said, clicks do not mean sales. Just because someone sees your ad and likes what the content is, clicks on it, and then reads through the sales page or the landing page, doesn't mean that you're going to land a sale. It just means that you've enticed them enough to read through what your product or service offer is. And that usually ends up being that disconnect between the click-through rate and sales is usually something like the landing page design, or it could also be that that person isn't ready to purchase, because that's an option too. Sometimes people need multiple ads served to them over the course of however long. I mean, depending on the product or service, it could be a long buying cycle or a short buying cycle. And if that's terminology you're not familiar with, again, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to explain the customer journey and how marketing and public relations and branding affect the customer journey. But those are, like, in general, the three biggest and most common digital marketing metrics that are used in introductory level digital marketing campaigns. Like, if you're just starting out, or maybe you've done digital marketing for a while now, but you just don't understand what these all mean, I hope this was helpful. And that's all I have for today. As always, I am Rochelle Rosa. I'm a creative consultant for creative brands, professionals, and projects. So share, follow, give me feedback. Is this content you want me to continue serving? Because I'm here to try and help you with your creative journey as you market and publicize your work. So, and if you're interested in working with me, I'll put some links down below. And that's all I have for now. Until next time.